Don't walk by. The migraine pressed against my skull like a vice, waves of nausea rolling through me as I made my way down to the beach. The salt air, I hoped, might clear the fog that had settled behind my eyes for days. The shoreline stretched before me, mostly empty in the off-season quiet. That's when I saw him, a figure sitting alone in a sheltered spot where the dunes met the sand, surrounded by a few belongings that spoke of impermanence. His weathered face and careful arrangement of possessions made me wonder if the beach had become his home. "Beautiful day," I offered as I passed, my voice hoarse from feeling unwell. He looked up with kind eyes and a slight accent that carried hints of Portugal or Spain. We exchanged pleasantries. I mentioned trying to lose some weight, and he gestured toward the sand with a gentle smile. "Walk without shoes," he suggested. "The sand will help." Simple wisdom from a stranger. I thanked him and continued on, my head still pounding. Part of me wanted to offer him something, anything, but I'd left home without money, carrying nothing but my unwell self to the healing shore. A few days later, returning to the same stretch of beach, I spotted a small blue tent pitched exactly where he'd been sitting. My heart quickened with recognition. The tent was zipped tight against the morning chill, and I didn't want to disturb what might be his only refuge of sleep. If he's homeless, I thought, I should help him. The first meeting came back to me, how I'd wanted to offer something then but had no money with me. Now I had a second chance. But again, I kept walking, telling myself I'd return properly prepared. Later that same day, as I completed my circuit of the beach, our paths crossed again. He was heading toward the clifftop houses, and we exchanged another brief hello. Only after he'd passed did I realize with certainty, this was the same man, and that tent was likely his temporary home. That night, I made a plan. I would return with a heavy bag of supplies, bottled water, food, warm clothes, toiletries, everything that might temporarily ease the burden of living rough. I counted out enough money to keep him going for a week, maybe two. The next morning, I packed the bag until my shoulders ached just lifting it. But I had an appointment I couldn't miss, something that seemed important at the time. I'll go afterward, I reasoned. He'll still be there. The afternoon stretched longer than expected. By the time I reached the beach, it was already 4 or 5 o'clock, later than I'd hoped, but still with just enough daylight to find him. I hurried to the spot where his tent had been, my heavy bag bumping against my back with each step. The sand was smooth and empty. No tent. No trace. No sign he'd ever been there at all. I stood alone in that quiet spot, the weight of unused kindness heavy in my hands. The bag full of provisions suddenly felt like evidence of my failure, not of generosity, but of assumption. I had assumed tomorrow would look like today. I had assumed need would wait for my convenience. I had assumed the opportunity to help would simply hover there, patient and unchanged, until I was ready to act. The empty beach stretched before me, and with it came a hollow understanding. Somewhere, a kind stranger who had offered me gentle advice about walking on sand was facing another night without adequate shelter, while my good intentions sat unused in a bag. The migraine was gone, but a different kind of pain had taken its place. The lesson lives in that empty space where a blue tent once stood. When you encounter someone in need, don't walk by. Don't tell yourself you'll help them tomorrow, because tomorrow they might be gone. Help them there and then. The window of opportunity to make a difference in someone's life can close as quickly as a tent being packed up at dawn. Sometimes kindness delayed is kindness denied, not by choice, but by the simple, cruel fact that human need doesn't wait for our schedules to align. Don't walk by. The moment is now. The person is here. Tomorrow, they might not be.